Hello, lovies. This is our video for Quiz 5 solutions. We talked about this in class a little bit for distance learners. Hopefully you're watching this. In class learners, we just went over it pretty quickly. So hopefully if you need a little bit more information about Quiz 5, this is helpful. The first question is asking about a mean and a median in relation to selling prices for single family homes. Now, there was a lot of interesting responses that I got to this. So like single family homes don't usually sell for that much and all types of crazy stuff and kudos, extra points for really thinking about the problem. But if you had watched the solutions video for the Can You Do that went with this quiz, you heard me talk about how when it comes to money, distributions are likely right skewed. Now, after I graded the quizzes, so many students were saying money is always right skewed. Money is always right skewed that I started to think that I probably said that in the video. And so I need to correct that now because there will be times where money isn't right skewed, but most of the time, money, if it's a distribution having to do with money, it is right skewed. But instead of saying money is always right skewed, what you want to say instead is that selling prices, or whatever the problem is about, you want to try to avoid just making a blanket statement, money. Say what the money is relating to, like salary, house prices, selling prices, things like that. So you want to say selling prices are likely skewed right, or right skewed. Selling prices are probably right skewed. You don't want to make a bold statement like money is always right skewed, because it's not always right skewed. It's just often right skewed. So that's what I have circled here, that you want to use the word likely or probably instead of what I said, which I'm pretty sure I led you guys to believe that it's always skewed right. It's just often skewed right, so that when we get a problem like this, we should be confident in saying the selling prices are likely right skewed. When a distribution is right skewed, the mean is greater than the median. So the median will be somewhere over in the bulk of the data, but the mean is going to get pulled towards selling prices that are high and to the right. So your mean, this is your mean, is going to be greater than your median. Some people were saying, well, your mean is always greater than your median. No, it's not. If you think that your mean is always greater than your median, you need to go back to the lesson, the SOX lesson, that is the cardstock in your sheet protector, and you need to really review center and spread. Because for center, the mean and the median are not always equal to each other. They're not always one is bigger than the other. It depends on the shape of your distribution. So the best answer for number one is that the selling prices are likely right skewed. So the mean will be bigger than the median, and then explicitly say which one is the mean and which one is the median. The best answer has all three elements. You are saying that you think the distribution is right skewed, which means mean will be bigger than median, and then you explicitly give the values. You need to have both. You can't just say the mean will be bigger than the median. You can't just say selling prices are right skewed. You want to add in both things. Okay, then the bottom part was students in a statistics class who responded to a survey question that was, how much sleep did you get last night? So the data are recorded in hours, and you were asked to make a dot plot, and my dot plot is over here to the right. I labeled my dot plot simply hours of sleep. I don't know what all these numbers hanging out on the side here are, so I will erase those. I named mine hours of sleep. Lots of you guys were giving this really long names, which is awesome, but you could have just done hours of sleep. So the dot plot, I personally thought that he kind of looked right skewed, but because I was unsure, what I did was I went and found the mean and the median. So I plugged this into my calculator and found that the mean is 6.5 and the median is 6. And that made me confident in saying that this distribution is roughly symmetric. I thought that there might be a little bit of right skew, but there wasn't. These are close enough in value that you would say this distribution is roughly symmetric. For the outliers portion, I actually went through and calculated an upper bound and a lower bound because I had the time and I knew how to. If you're crunched for time, you're going to eyeball it and go on to the next question, because partial credit is better than no credit and you want to answer as many questions as possible. So that gives me about all of the information that I need. It's roughly symmetric. I know my minimum value is 3, my max value is 11, I have a peak at 6. So I now need to put this all together in a response that addresses most of that. So the distribution of survey results is roughly symmetric and unimodal with no outliers. So we want to try to be specific to what the distribution is. The distribution of survey results, or the distribution of hours of sleep, is roughly symmetric and unimodal with no outliers. So that takes care of the S and the O in SOX. The median response was 6 hours. So students in the class typically got 6 hours of sleep last night. And then in quotes, I put last night because it probably wasn't literally last night. Now, family, I need you to just memorize the word typically. Lots of the responses were most students got 6 hours of sleep. That is not true. If you go over to your dot plot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 students out of 24 students, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. 28 students. 9 out of 28 got 6 hours of sleep. That's not most students. So let me say that again. Instead of you guys writing, students typically got 6 hours of sleep, because that's the right verbiage. The center tells you the typical observation. You guys said most students got 6 hours of sleep. That's no bueno, because most students did not. The most students were on the hours of, or on the tick 6, but the most students did not get 6 hours. 9 out of 28 students got 6 hours of sleep, and that's not most. That's like 33%. Most students would need to be at least 51%. So don't say most. The 6 had the most dots, but that does not mean that most students got 6 hours of sleep. I hope that that's really clear. So don't say that anymore using the median. You just want to memorize the word typical. So students typically got 6 hours of sleep. The other thing that I saw a lot is students got 6 hours of sleep on average. That also is no bueno. So the average is 6.5. Your average is 6.5. So if you're going to say students got any amount of sleep on average, you actually need to use the average. So if you said on average students got 6 hours of sleep, that was wrong. because average specifically means the mean. Specifically means the mean. Okay, I need to pause for just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So we have done the S, the O, and the C now in SOX. Shape, outliers, center, we use the word typically, and then lastly we want to talk about range. So responses varied from 3 to 11 hours. You could say the range of the distribution is 8 hours. So I'll write that down there. You can say the range of the distribution is 8 hours. Because remember, range is your max subtract your min. So the range of the distribution is 8 hours, or you can say responses varied from 3 to 11 hours. Those mean the same thing. And because that didn't sound like a full response, I said with a peak at 6 hours. You do not have to write that in. Responses varied from 3 to 11 hours is enough to get full credit. I just added in with a peak at 6 because that sounded more like a fully formed thought. So this is my response. This is a full credit response. Notice down here on my key, I have median. So I wrote bad. This is bad. Median is 6, so most students get about 6 hours of sleep. Do not say that. Bad. Sad face. You should not use IQR on this problem. If you used IQR, you missed points because this data is symmetric, so you should use range. You only use IQR when data is skewed. You had to mention that there were no outliers, and that's it. Well, that's not it, but those are the feedback. That's the feedback that I got. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, I just want to run through one more time what you had to have. So the shape of the distribution, roughly symmetric and unimodal. No outliers. So that's 2 things. Shape, outliers. The median, and a statement in context that says students typically got 6 hours of sleep, or on average, students got 6.5 hours of sleep. That's 3, actually 4. Shape, outliers, center, a statement about center, and then range. You had to have all of that to get full credit. I'm hoping that this solutions video helps you out if you missed points on this quiz. If any of this is unclear, let me know. This is a super important idea and something you will for sure do on your exam. Most of the time you're going to do it in the context of comparing distributions, but whether you're comparing distributions or just describing a distribution, you must do SOX. You must talk about shape, center, spread, outliers. So this is something that you just have to buckle down and get done. And if you don't understand, you need to come see me and I'll do my best to help you. Okay, love you guys. Good luck on the retake if you need to take it. Love ya. See ya.